In the last part you saw, Akira wants to thank Haruka for helping her, so she asks him to develop plot with her, and they develop the plot all night long. Now continuing. The next day Haruka and Sora were talking and she was complaining about mosquitoes bothering her a lot. Then Yorihime knocks on their door, and when Haruka opens it, she gives him traditional mosquito repellent. Haruka tells her that they will soon go to school together, which makes her excited as she wants to spend time with him too. After reaching school, Haruka keeps staring at Yorihime, and when Ronnie calls him to peek at girls in swimsuits, he tells him not to look at Yorihime. This makes Ronnie realize that Haruka has a crush on Yorihime, and he tells this to Yorihime, but she makes her feel that Haruka doesn't like her. She then recalls an incident from her childhood when she ran away from home due to a fight between her parents, and came to her friend Haruka's house. She then started developing a plot with Haruka, but after everything happened, when she saw him sad, she ran away from there too. Back in the present, Haruka was trying to call Yorihime, but when he notices Sora coming there he hides the phone from her sight. Later, Haruka called Yorihime to his house on the pretext that he had to get buttons stitched on their shirt. When Yorihime starts going back to her house after buttoning it up, Haruka tells her that he likes her company, and they start getting closer to each other. During this time Sora comes to know that Haruka was calling Yorihime, then in anger she opens the door of Haruka's room and they are unable to complete the kiss. Yorihime happily shows Sora her school uniform, but Sora angrily closes the door. The next day when they are going to school they see Yorihime standing far away, and seeing this Roni understands that things are not settled between them yet. So later, he calls Haruka and invites him to school on Sunday to take swimming lessons. Haruka goes to the school on Sunday where he finds Yorihime in the pool. They realize that they have been fooled by their friends, then Haruka asks Yorihime to teach him swimming. Yorihime starts teaching him how to swim, and after some time she goes to the changing room to change her clothes, where she screams when she sees something moving in the box. Hearing the scream, Haruka runs there and sees a black cat sitting there. Then the school staff arrives, but by then they have hidden. After the school staff leaves, they come out of the box. Then the box breaks due to their weight, due to which Yorihime falls on Haruka. This reminds her of her childhood, and she starts apologizing to Haruka for developing the plot that day. But he explains to her that he enjoyed developing the plot with her. After things clear between them, they start their love journey by kissing each other. The two return home from school like lovers, and Sora sees them talking outside the house. Later Haruka tries to tell Sora that he is in a relationship with Yorihime, but she leaves without listening to anything. The next day Haruka meets Yorihime on his way to school and they smile, remembering their kiss yesterday. But Sora doesn't like their relationship. She sees them both being very happy and gets her clothes wet in anger. Later when Haruka asks Sora to have lunch together on Yorihime's insistence, she arrogantly refuses to eat together. After school they go shopping, and then Haruka takes Yorihime to his house. There he shows her their childhood photos, but his eyes remain fixed on her melons. Haruka comes close to her and starts kissing her. Meanwhile, Sora wakes up hearing strange voices, and when she opens the door of Haruka's room, she sees him vigorously developing plot with Yorihime. Sora gets angry and throws Yorihime out of the house and asks her to stay away from Haruka. Poor Yorihime goes back to her home humiliated, and he just stands there like a coward. That night, Yorihime cannot sleep as she keeps thinking about the plot, and neither can Haruka. The next day, Yorihime stops meeting Haruka and has lunch alone. Haruka tries to talk to her outside the class, but Yorihime runs away to the class without talking to him. Then Haruka meets Yorihime outside the school and explains to her that they should not give up on their relationship because of Sora. Hearing his words, she gets encouraged and the next day asks Sora to go to school with her. Later they try to have lunch with Sora, but she leaves from there in anger. Because seeing them together, her hatred for Yorihime was increasing in her mind. The next day Haruka and Yorihime go to the beach with their friends to have fun, but Sora doesn't come with them because of Yorihime. While playing on the beach, their ball falls into the water, and when Haruka goes to fetch it, he gets caught in a huge wave. He stops breathing. Yorihime revives him by giving him CPR. Meanwhile, Sora comes to the beach to meet Haruka and sees Yorihime giving CPR to Haruka. The next day, Sora gets a mild fever. But despite this, Haruka leaves her at home and goes to school. Sora waits for him at the door, and he goes to the market with Yorihime. But as soon as he gets a message about Sora's health deteriorating, he immediately leaves her and heads for home. When he reaches there, he sees that Sora is lying unconscious on the floor, but her fever has not risen. After she regains consciousness, he starts going back to school, but Sora tries to stop him. Then Yorihime also comes there and Haruka Sora alone at home. When he returns, he does not find Sora anywhere in the house, so he sets out to find her with Yorihime. The search goes on for a long time, but Sora is nowhere to be found. She is not even responding to messages. They then meet Akira on the way, who brings them to Sora's fallen bicycle. Haruka feels responsible for Sora, and all his friends search for Sora that rainy night. Yorihime finds her hiding in a cabin, and Sora runs away from her. Just then, a strong lightning strikes, and the wet cabin catches fire in the rain, and begins burning her mother's only memento. Undeterred, Yorihime rushes into the burning cabin and comes out with her doll. After finding the doll, she confesses that she being close to Haruka makes her afraid of losing Haruka. The next day, when they need help putting on their yukata, Sora asks Haruka to call Yorihime for help. Later they get ready and meet their friends at the festival. Then Akira takes Sora for a walk in the market. Then Haruka tells Yorihime that Sora had asked him to call her for help. After this, Haruka brings Yorihime to a deserted place outside the market, and they start developing the plot with excitement. Then while sleeping he has a nightmare in which Sora comes close and starts kissing him. Haruka wakes up in fear and is unable to sleep the whole night. The next day, while having lunch in school, Yorihime asks Haruka to go on a date, and he agrees. After school, when he comes home, he sees Sora lying on the floor wearing a towel. He asks her to wear clothes, but she drops the towel and tries to seduce him, so he asks her to leave. Then, while lying in the room, Haruka remembers the kiss he had with his sister. Then he gets a call from Yorihime, and they start planning about their Sunday date. Yorihime was very happy about her date, and Sora was standing outside listening to their conversation. She asks him to go shopping with her on Sunday. When Haruka tries to make an excuse as he has a date, she asks him to cancel his plans. The next day, Haruka wanted to talk to Yorihime to cancel the date, but she was very excited about it, so he could not cancel the date. Then Haruka asks Sora to wait till next Sunday for shopping. Sora gets angry on hearing this and asks him to take the final decision tomorrow morning. Haruka goes to meet Yorihime in the morning, and Sora keeps on suffering alone. They roam around the market. Yorihime buys ingredients to make Sora's favorite vegetable curry, which they bring home. But Haruka sees that Sora is crying, so he asks Yorihime to cancel their plan and leave the house. After Yorihime leaves, Haruka asks Sora why she is crying, and she says that she had a nightmare about their separation. Haruka explains that he will never leave her again, which calms her down. The next day, while on their way to school, they encounter Yorihime, who starts walking with them. Sora asks her to go ahead of them. Yorihime understands her point and leaves them alone. Later, when Haruka comes to the kitchen to drink water, he hears strange sounds coming from Sora's room. He peeks inside and sees Sora developing the plot alone, taking Haruka's name. Haruka starts crying after seeing his sister like this. The next day, he sits at the railway station and keeps thinking about her. Then Yorihime comes there and they go out for a date. Even as Haruka roams around the market with Yorihime, all his attention is focused on thinking about Sora. He becomes so irritated thinking about her that he grabs Yorihime and takes her to a love hotel. There he tries to force himself on her, but Yorihime pushes him away and she asks him crying if he really loves her. Haruka is unable to give her any answer and they return back home. There he sees Sora sleeping on the floor after doing all the chores. When Haruka asked her the reason for doing all the chores, she replied that from now on she will take full care of him. The next day, Haruka goes to the school library and reads historical books written on sibling marriages because he wants to know what happened to them. The next day, when Haruka goes to wake up Sora, he sees that she has a high fever and he informs Yorihime about this. But when she wants to help wipe Sora's sweat, Haruka refuses her help and wipes the sweat from her body himself. Then he sleeps near her bed. When he wakes up, he sees Sora is kissing him. When he stops her, she insists that he has seen every part of her, and she loves him very much. Hearing this, Haruka also starts kissing her, then Sora asks him to develop the plot with her. Haruka agrees to develop the plot with her, and they develop the plot many times that night. The next morning there is a wonderful smile on Sora's face as if she has got all the wealth of the world. The two of them spend all their time at home making love to each other, and are inseparable from each other at school. Their friends find their behavior strange and Koju discourages Haruka from being too close with his sister. After coming home, Haruka falls into deep thoughts. Seeing him upset, Sora starts developing the plot to cheer him up and he forgets all his worries. Then in school, he keeps thinking about Sora and as soon as the school is over, he leaves for home with her. As soon as he reaches home, he gets impatient and starts developing the plot near the door. Meanwhile, Koju and Yorihime find Haruka's phone in the class, and to return it they come to his house. But they hear their loud voices outside the door, from which Yorihime understands that the plot is being developed inside. Koju runs inside and sees Haruka developing the plot with his sister. Koju runs away from there in shock, then Yorihime also leaves without saying anything. After their secret is revealed, Haruka does not want to go to school, but Sora forcibly takes him to school. After reaching the class, Haruka's eyes fell on Koju, whose eyes had become red due to crying. Later Koju comes to meet him and says that she loved him but now she will never talk to him. Haruka then meets Yorihime and tells her that he loved his sister since childhood, and they had become very close to each other. But Sora is his sister, and he cannot keep an intimate relationship with her, so he tried to find love in her but their relationship could not bring them closer. Haruka apologizes to Yorihime, but she leaves without saying anything. Haruka becomes very sad and when Sora comes close to cheer him up, he tries to forcibly develop plot with her. But halfway, he realizes that all this is wrong and asks her to end their illicit relationship. Sora does not want to end their relationship and wants to have children with him. Later Haruka tells her that they are about to run out of money so they will have to separate and live with their relatives. On hearing this, Sora angrily leaves the room. Later Haruka gets a message from Sora that she is leaving the house. Haruka immediately sets out to find her. On the way he meets Yorihime, and she also starts searching for Sora. Haruka remembers that Akira had mentioned about a river near the village, so he runs there in hope of finding Sora. Fortunately he finds Sora there, but she was trying to take a deep bath by drowning in the water. Haruka goes behind her to save her, but he himself doesn't know how to swim and starts drowning with her. Haruka faints in the water, and when he wakes up, he sees Sora is in front of him. Haruka promises that he will never leave her, and they embrace each other. They then leave Japan and go to another country where there is no one to stop them from developing plot because of their relationship. Thanks for watching. Please like and share the video.